Welcome to Geek Stance, the show where the reasons why we love it just could be the reasons why you hate it. Today we're going to be talking all things Civil War. A lot of excitement leading up to this. I'm joined by Joe.
How's it going, Jim?
It's going pretty good. I'm pretty excited for this movie that's coming up. It's the biggest Civil War in the history of Civil Wars, I would say. I care more about this Civil War than I do the one that our country went through. But that's beside the point. We talked about excitement. There's a lot of it. In comparison to all the other comic book movies that's coming out or came out, where did Civil War fit in for you?
For me, Civil War was number one. Then I would say Deadpool was two. I'm trying to think what else is out this year.
Yeah, like Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad's probably three. And then Batman vs. Superman was last.
So definitely it was at the top of your list.
Yes.
This was the movie you wanted to see this summer.
I forgot about Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange in November.
Doctor Strange is 3. Suicide Squad 4.
Super excited for Doctor Strange, by the way.
Yes.
So, in this movie, we have the graphic novel right here. This was actually the first comic that I ever read, Civil War. When I was reading it for the first time, seeing the comic book characters that I loved as a child face off and fight, it just really it took me off guard, and that's why it was like a must read for me. So when I learned they were doing this angle for Captain America 3, I was like, yes, like I love this.
I actually read yesterday that Captain America 3 wasn't going to be Civil War at the start.
Wow.
And it depended. And there were like 3 different versions. One is like if they couldn't get Tony Stark, if they couldn't get if they couldn't get Spider-Man, if they couldn't get like certain characters.
Gotcha.
There's like so many different versions of them without certain characters.
Well, I'm glad that they did do this angle. I know not having the Fantastic Four being available for this film, because in the graphic novel, as you know,
it split Reed Richards and the Invisible Woman up. Like it split them up.
It broke your heart, and
they had kids too at the time. Like I think they had a baby, or something like that.
Yeah, and that's why I'm really curious as to given what it is with the rights to X-Men, the rights to Fantastic Four. The MCU has, a little bit of limited number of characters, how they're going to go about this. Really excited for that. So when it comes to Civil War, we're going to have an immense amount of characters in this movie.
Yes.
What's the one you're looking forward to seeing the most?
Spider-Man's the obvious answer.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of looking forward to Black Panther a little bit more, just because I don't know a whole lot about him. So I'm curious to see just exactly how well, how that character pans out in the movie, to lead up into his solo movie. But I am probably almost as much excited for Spider-Man as I am Black Panther.
You know what, Black Panther, he's an interesting character because we see these characters, they have their solo films, and then they make their way into the Avengers. But with Black Panther, they're throwing him in the Civil War.
Yes.
Without really establishing him beforehand. So I'm excited to see how he's going to fit in.
Yes, same here.
And like you kind of mentioned, he's not really too well known. Like, he's not like, you don't see him on all the t-shirts like the kids wear.
No, not at all.
So I'm really looking forward to that too. I think for myself, I'm excited for Crossbones. And I say that because in a movie called Civil War with our superheroes, where does the bad guy come into play? Isn't there going to be enough fighting amongst each other?
Exactly. I'm curious to see how Crossbones fits into it. I know that Baron Zemo is going to be, I think he's going to be the one behind the strings behind the scenes pulling all the strings. Like I have a feeling that he's probably the one that initiated the Sokovia Accords.
Yeah.
And all of that to get the Avengers to fight themselves, to let them take each other out, so it's less for him and Crossbones to deal with.
So you're saying that there definitely being strings, in your opinion, in your guess, there's strings being pulled.
Much like Loki behind the scenes of Thor, I think Zemo's going to be behind the scenes pulling those strings to get everyone to fight each other.
And with Crossbones, Marvel's kind of made a name for themselves with disposable villain characters. Will this, do you think that this will be another disposable villain?
I hope not. I kind of hope Crossbones survives. I mean, he did survive the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, he wasn't Crossbones then. So, but he did survive that. Hopefully, we'll get a little bit more of him, more character from him in this one, and hopefully they don't kill him off to kill off the bad guy. Hopefully they just maybe capture him or something like that.
I really love with the Avengers. It really does feel like there is some chemistry. In the previous films, they get together, they're working together, they work well together. And I'm interested in this movie with some people being added, such as Ant-Man. Mm-hmm. And I know they're going to be splitting everything, but I'm really curious to see how the new characters are going to gel with our old Avengers that were in the previous films.
Exactly. I mean, in the previous Avengers, I mean, you had Scarlet Witch and Vision. They were added there, and they gelled relatively well whenever it came time to it. But with the addition of Black Panther, Spider-Man, Ant-Man, who else?
Oh man.
I think that's about it that's being introduced in this film. Or Ant-Man wasn't introduced, but he's introduced to the team in this film. It's going to be interesting to see just exactly how well they gel.
So here's a question. We kind of added this because it seems no matter what we're talking about when it comes to Captain America 3, Civil War, no matter who it is, we always say, who do you think's gonna die in this movie? So the famous question, folks, who do you think's gonna die in this movie?
That is a great question. I mean, Joss Whedon's not directing this, so for all we know, no one's going to die.
It's very
I mean, if Whedon was directing it, I would definitely say at least one's going to die, maybe more. But I think someone's going to die. All the trailers are pointing to Rhodey. I don't think it's going to be Rhodey, but I think he's the red herring. Unless Marvel is trying to be really cheeky about it and make us think that he's the red herring when in actuality he's not.
Yeah. You know what? If I had to guess, obviously after some reports that Tony Stark is going to be in Spider-Man, I guess obviously we can rule him out. We've kind of talked a little bit about what if Steve Rogers lives, but Captain America dies. Do you think that is a route that Marvel may take? Like Captain America may be dead, but Steve Rogers is alive and well.
See, I don't know how they're going to kill off Captain America, but keep Steve Rogers alive. So I don't know how that would go. I mean, it's possible that they do that. I just don't know exactly how they're going to.
Yeah, and I don't know if Nick Fury's going to be in this because he's kind of been the lead behind the Avengers, and there's really been no sign of him. And with Civil War breaking out, I think I'd want Fury to be there. Maybe I don't know if he would help out or do something.
I think Fury, if he does show up, he would be the voice of reason and be like, "Stop it!"
Yeah.
Now he'd be like your dad, just slap you on the back of the head and be like, "Stop it!
Stop hitting your sister! Stop hitting your sister! Stop hitting your sister!" I could definitely see that.
Fury is definitely the father of the Avengers.
Don't make me take this eye patch off.
Don't make me come over.
Yeah.
Don't make me come out of hiding.
That is great. No, I definitely think at some point maybe that in this film that he's gonna pop up somewhere just because it's Nick flipping Fury.
Yeah, even if it's maybe at the end, like end credit scenes or something. But I mean, I have a feeling end credit wise, it's going to lead into Doctor Strange. It might introduce something for Doctor Strange or something. Yeah,
I'm excited for the mid-credits scenes too. Those have become just real famous with Marvel. It's like everyone sits and watches.
Because they usually lead into the next movie. Like, they usually give you some sort of tidbit about the next movie.
Yeah.
Like Ant-Man, I mean, it was literally a scene taken from Civil War.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it can be just about anything.
I've been just so excited since the first release of the trailer. It's just been so cool. There's that one in the trailer where it's Captain America. He's like going up against Tony Stark with the Winter Soldier beside him, and they're just like duking it out.
Yeah, 2-on-1.
It's like at first I didn't know how I felt about that because I was like, man, I love all of them. But then I was like, oh, this is kind of awesome. This is definitely kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see just exactly where they take Bucky in this movie. I think if they were to kill any of the main characters off, I think it would probably be Steve, and either have Bucky or Falcon take over the mantle of Captain America.
Yeah, because I think regardless of if Steve Rogers dies, I think Captain America lives, and is passed on, like in the comics, passed on, and so that's something else I'm looking at during this movie is if maybe Captain dies, does somebody else rise as that leader, like, hey, and becomes the voice of reason, the moral high ground between both of them. So I'm looking to that, and it's gonna just have crazy effects on the MCU. So do you think that Civil War is gonna reshape the MCU?
It definitely will. I don't think it'll reshape the MCU as much as, say, Infinity War. But it'll definitely reshape it going forward and leading up into the new movies, like the following movies and Infinity War and all that. It'll definitely change everything. And it'll most definitely change what's happening in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for sure.
Yeah. And it's crazy to see how everything's tying in right now into Civil War. And I really think that nothing's going to be the same after this point. It almost can't be. Just there's gonna be bloodshed. There's gonna be tears shed. There's just gonna be friendships broken up.
Yes, so, even though they may still work together in a future Avengers movie or something like that, there might still be some tension there.
Yeah, definitely.
Because of the event, because of the fights in this film. A key point in the trailer. Look at Black Widow and Hawkeye. They're great friends. Have always been great friends, and they're on opposite sides. You know, Black Widow's with Stark, Hawkeye's with Cap, and in the trailer they're fighting each other. And Black Widow asks him, she's like, "Are we still friends?" And he's like, "Depends on how hard you hit me."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You think so? Will that? Into the new movies, will that affect their dynamic?
I think with those two it won't, because they've been kind of through that before with the first Avengers, with him being taken over by Loki with the the mind gem. Yeah, good point. So I think those two have kind of been there, done that. So I think their relationship is solid enough for them to laugh it off, hug it off, hug it out, whatever.
I'd like to think if they're all heroes and their goal is to benefit mankind in the best possible way, that when it comes down to it, if it's up to them putting aside some of the bad blood that they're going to experience here, that they'll be able to do so in order to protect the world from oncoming dangers.
Yes, from new threats. And stuff like that. So yeah, exactly. Thanos thing. He's going to be, the big baddie that they've teased ever since the start of the MCU. So
I'm real excited just to see him, but I guess that's a video podcast for another day.
Yes, that's a conversation for another day.
It's so hard though not to jump ahead, because it's like we know it's coming.
Exactly. And it just, with each movie they show a little bit more, like one of the last ones where he takes the Infinity Gauntlet and he's like, fine, I'll do it myself.
That gave me goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps right now.
Exactly.
That's the geekiest thing that I've said in the last 3 hours, but no, that gave me goosebumps when that happened. So what do you want to see in this film, Joe?
What do I want to see in this film? Two things.
Okay.
Black Panther versus Captain America.
Ooh, okay.
Because I want to see just how well, because he has vibranium claws on his suit, and in the trailers it shows bullets deflecting off his suit, so maybe his suit has vibranium woven in as well. I think in the comics he has vibranium soul so he can walk on water.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm curious to see more Black Panther, and specifically Black Panther fighting Captain America, because vibranium claws, vibranium shield, you know.
Yeah.
How that's
gonna be pretty sweet.
It's gonna be a good matchup between those two because they kind of cancel each other out some with the vibranium. And then we kind of hit on this already, but the mid-credit, end-credit scenes are the other things I'm really looking forward to, because I want to see if they set up Strange, and if they do, how they set him up.
Yeah, you know what what I want to see is, how does the world react to Civil War? Civil War in real life, it can tear apart nations, families, people. Does it do the same for our heroes? Does it do the same for the people, just the ordinary people, the regular civilians? How do they view our heroes?
Yeah, how are they going to view the fact that their heroes, the people that have saved them countless times, how are they going to react to the fact that they're fighting each other?
Yeah, do you have to choose a side? Do you have to be on Cap's side? Do you have to be on Stark's side? That's going to be an interesting element to throw in there. And I think another thing I'm kind of looking at, I want to see the overall destruction. And do you think that if you're Thanos, if he's watching and he's knows that all this is going on, does this make our world look weak? That our so-called
mightiest heroes,
mightiest heroes are at attacking each other, fighting each other. That kind of makes us look vulnerable, in my opinion.
I think it will make us look vulnerable, but I think Thanos is watching them, because the Vision has the mind gem. He's after the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
So I think he's keeping an eye. He knows what's going on. So I think as he's watching it, he's probably assessing, seeing how powerful they are fighting each other.
Yeah.
But also think he probably, to him, makes him look weaker. Although he doesn't get to see Thor or Hulk fighting. So
he doesn't get to see the bigger picture. I'd like to imagine too that he's watching, because I don't think he would ever go into anything blind. Knowing the Thanos of the comics, he's well prepared for anything.
Especially when it comes to the Hulk. I mean, the Hulk is the one person that he actively avoids conflict with.
Tell you what, that'd be a heck of a matchup, and hopefully later on in other movies, we'll get to see some of those dream matchups that we want to see from our heroes and our villains.
Yes.
So, finish this sentence for me. Captain America Civil War will blank. Finish that sentence for me.
Change everything.
Change everything. I think you're dead on with that. I think it will change everything. So, okay, man. Well, hey, thanks for talking with me. I think we had some good conversation.
Yep.
I'd like to thank you for watching. This has been Two Geek Stance on Captain America Civil War. Thank you for watching. This has been Geek Stance.